What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. This is going to be on a huge deal that the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Chicago Blackhawks were discussing, and whether or not this is something that could be revisited a little bit. It can't fully be revisited because Brandon Hagel got traded to Tampa, but there's another player in this deal that the Toronto Maple Leafs seem to have liked to try to move for, and that's Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, who knows if the sides will still talk? It seems like Chicago is open for business. You would think Hagel would be a perfect guy to have in a rebuild, but there is going to be a ton of action when it comes to trade talk and news and rumors and stuff with, tonight, tomorrow, and Monday, because the trade deadline is on Monday. So if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Watch my other trade videos as well as the ones that are coming up, because I'm going to have to be updated every single time something comes out. I like to give my opinion, and I'd really appreciate it. I know there's a lot of people watching right now who aren't subscribed. I'd really, really appreciate it. It's free. All you got to do is click the button. And if you don't want to subscribe, at least like the video. It would help me a lot. But this is why I'm talking about this, because some people will be like, why are you even talking about this? Well, because there still could be something that comes out of this. Now, maybe some people don't have the same opinion as me, but Darren Dreger tweeted this out about 25 minutes ago, saying, here's a deal that didn't happen. Chicago and Toronto discussed Hagel and Fleury to the Leafs for Mrazek, Matthew Knies, and first-round picks, plural. Never reached a stage where Fleury was asked to officially waive. Toronto declined based on the futures involved. Now, Toronto also says that they sees promise in Wall and Shalgren and Jack Campbell. It was a massive ask on the futures, and potentially a portion of those futures can be used on shoring up Toronto's D. And then obviously we've seen Chicago getting a huge return, multiple first-round picks and prospects from Tampa. So the reason why this is significant is because it does show that, one, this could potentially mean that Jake Muzzin is definitely staying out until, the playoffs, until the first round or second round, whatever. So he's, because if you're bringing in a lot of money, even when you're trading somebody like Mrazek, Fleury's contract is higher. You're bringing in Brandon Hagel. Who knows who else was involved in the deal? But it seems as though the Leafs are willing to, move out what certain pieces, not everything, because clearly the Leafs look like the team that pulled back on this trade, but they seem like they're not willing to give away all their future. Now, people are probably going to look at this and go, dude, they could have had Fleury and Hagel. Sure. That's an upgrade, but let me just show you this. Okay, so Fleury's got a $7 million cap hit, so that's already expensive. So I'm wondering if there's going to be salary retention in that deal, which would potentially make this deal a lot more understandable. But if we're looking at his numbers right now, okay, so with the Chicago Blackhawks, I'm not sure why all of this is blank. It's not showing all of his numbers, but Marc-Andre Fleury currently has a 290 and a 909. Sure, those numbers are pretty decent, but this isn't like a multiple first round pick, break the bank type of trade that the Leafs should make. And again, I love Marc-Andre Fleury, but those numbers don't scream amazing. 909 is decent. A 290 is averaging almost 3 goals a game. Again, Chicago might not be, sorry for that. Chicago might not be the best team, but oh man, this phone is going crazy. Okay, anyways, this is because I'm trying to keep up on all the updates on Twitter. But Chicago's not the best team, but still, those numbers aren't exactly, jumping off the page as amazing. So that's probably part of it. Now, Brandon Hagel, $1.5 million cap hit now with the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a guy that got traded for a massive package, 37 points in 55 games played, including 21 goals. And goals are very valuable, as we know. So sure, that this package seems like, maybe it wouldn't have been as much if you look at it on paper. But to me, it screams like it's too much, because Matthew Knies is actually a really, really good prospect that could potentially be playing on the Leafs this season. There's been talk that he could be playing on the fourth line. He could be a guy that jumps in the playoffs and maybe adds a little spark to this team. The Leafs did the same thing with Robertson against Columbus. He scored a goal. I know people are on Robertson's back, but we're allowing Shalgren to play a couple games and calling him the second coming of Christ. I love Shalgren. I think he's done a good job, but let's not boost somebody up for having a couple good games and then tear somebody like Robertson down, who's still very young, who hasn't been given a full shot, a full healthy season to play yet. His time will come. Maybe he's not fully ready yet. So let's pipe the brakes on being a bust, okay? But Matthew Knies, 19 years old, look at his point totals. He's done really, really well. The U of Minnesota, 27 points in 29 games played. Tri-City Storm in the USHL, 42 points in 44 games played, 45 and 44 the year before that. The World Juniors, the Olympics, 2 points in 4 games. Matthew Knies is looked at as a guy that could be playing with Austin Matthews in the very near future. People think like this is the guy that would be the perfect fit for Austin Matthews on the left wing. Like Knies, Matthews, Marner as a line, which would be disgusting, right? I think it's going to take a while for people to understand how good this guy is, but there are so many people that think that Matthew Knies is an absolute steal in round 2 for the Toronto Maple Leafs and that he's going to shock so many people of how good he is. So asking for multiple first-round picks, Matthew Knies and more on top of what the Leafs were already, giving them, 2 firsts plus probably a first-round caliber player, so equivalent of 3 first-round picks plus more. It doesn't make sense. It sounds like in those tweets that maybe one of Shalgren or Wall was also involved in that package, which, again, you're adding a goaltender prospect on top of that. We've seen how good Shalgren's been. Wall hasn't looked that bad either. We have to know the difference between going all in and making a good trade and going all in and making a really dumb trade. Dubas is trying not to do what he did last year with Foligno. Again, I'm going to circle back to I think Fleury and Hagel would have been good for this team, but if Fleury doesn't want to stay in Toronto next season, then it's like, okay, we just gave up a bunch for a guy that played, a few games, and, it depends on how far the Leafs go in the playoffs, but it's like, that's a really steep price for a rental. And, with Hagel, it's like, what's his contract? He's got like 1 year left, or no, he's got a couple years left after this, but that's the only part of it where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like Hagel would probably cost a little bit, but you're giving up an equivalent of like 3 firsts plus additional pieces, which could include a goaltender prospect that the Leafs desperately need. If you're looking at the way their goalies have played, they need to keep some goalie prospects around because they're going to need some help on the goaltending position. So this is a very tough trade for me to look at because on one side, I'm like, damn, I want the Leafs to do something big. I want them to go all in. But then there's a part of me that goes, do I really want the Leafs to give up Matthew Knies, multiple first-round picks, plus? I don't know about that one. I'm not really sure. I think Dubas made the right call here. And again, I love Marc-Andre Fleury. As a goaltender my entire life growing up, he was one of my biggest inspirations. But he's not having a typical Marc-Andre Fleury season where he's just stealing a bunch of games. And again, I know the Blackhawks aren't that good, but you have to be careful the price that you're paying around this time of the year. And I think Dubas is looking for something to upgrade this team, and I think by the looks of it, it looks like he really is willing to at least engage in some serious talks with futures, but I think he would rather somebody with term. That's why Hagel probably interested him, but the Fleury part of it probably added more to that. It seems like Fleury added more of a package on top of what they were already offering, so, because it probably would have involved salary retention as well, and that drives the price up. Maybe a third team would have had to be involved. But craziness as we're getting close to the trade deadline. Let me know your thoughts down below. It's Saturday, so there's probably going to be, I'm checking my phone to see if there's anything more. Delorier got traded to Minnesota. There's just stuff going on. But if more pops up, I'll make a quick video for you guys because, usually we get the 32 Thoughts segment on Saturday nights with Elliot Freeman and Jeff Merrick. So we'll have to see what happens there. And as more comes out, like I said, I'll make sure to post. So make sure to like this video, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.